Hey guys, Mr. Barnes here, bringing you another lovely math video, this time on negative exponents, one of my favorite topics, and also one of my favorite Barnes Cups participants. We had a team called the Negative Exponents a few years ago. So, negative exponents traditionally, and I've taught grade 10 math last 2 years, and I taught it a couple years before that. One of the things that, for whatever reason, students find very difficult are the exponent laws, things like negative exponents, rational exponents, things like that. There are a lot of things you need to remember. So I'm going to try and break it down as much for you as possible, and I'll give you a bunch of examples. So, alright, so the rule is, if you have a fraction like this now, well, that doesn't work. Let me see. Alright, let's call it A over B. So A and B could be any numbers, 2 over 3, whatever. And that's all to a negative exponent. So let's call it negative m. It's a mean-looking exponent. So it could be negative 5, negative 1/2, whatever. So what we do, and what the rule is, and what a negative exponent means, it is that basically it, in order to get rid of it, we just make it positive. And what happens when we make it positive is that we flip the base of the exponent. We take the reciprocal of it. So when it was a over b, now it becomes b over a to the m. So that's one version of this law. Now the second version of this law is when you don't have a fractional base. So let's say I just have a. And let's say, again, I have negative m. So we still follow the same logic from it. So we flip the base, so it's a gets flipped over, it becomes 1 over a. The reciprocal of a is 1 over a. So it becomes 1 over a to the m. Now that's not really pretty to look at, so what you need to think about is, well, 1 to the any exponent, so 1 to the m could be a billion, it's still 1. So we can write it like that, and then an a to the m. So it's not entirely unrealistic to be able to go from here to here. Okay, so I think that's where students sort of get caught up in what to do where. Alright, so let's give this guy a shot. Let's do a couple of examples where we might want to simplify them. Alright, so let's do this guy. I'm just going to keep it fairly straightforward. So 2 to the negative 3. So this is an example. So we would write, so remember we flip the base. 1 over 2, and then the exponent becomes positive. So that's all changes sign. Only the exponent changes sign. So I get 1 over 2, and so what that means is, of course, 1 to the 3 is still 1. Then we get 2 to the 3. So that is like the skip it directly to the last step of that bottom thing I just wrote. And then that guy turns into 1 over 8. There she is. That's all she wrote. So let's do another quick example similar to this one. Let's try 3 to the negative 4. I don't have a calculator here, so I don't want to make it too complicated on myself. So I end up with, of course, 1 over 3 to the 4. And then 1 to the 4 is 1. 3 to the 4. Just like that. So I get 1, 3 to the 4, so that's 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, and that's 81. So there it is, guys. 2 really fairly straightforward examples. Let's try a couple with fractional bases. Let's try this guy. So let's go 1 over 2 to the negative 4. So again, I flip the base, so 1 over 2 becomes 2 over 1, or just 2. So we don't need to write 2 over 1. If you want to, you can. And the exponent becomes positive. So then that guy turns into 2 to the 4. That's going to be 16. So there it is. That's a great example. Alright, let's try another one. Let's make this up the ante a little bit. Negative 2 over 3. All to the negative 2. So remember, the only thing that changes sign is the exponent. The exponent becomes positive. So the negative 2 over 3, that flips over, still negative number, just negative 3 over 2 this time. Whoops. I don't know what just happened there. Hang on, here we go. So, yeah, negative 3 over 2, and my exponent becomes positive. There we go, just like that. And now, what you need to remember is that you're squaring a negative number. It has to be positive. So that's what you need to think of. So remember, negative 3 over 2 is the same as negative 3 over 2 times negative 3 over 2. So you end up with, basically end up with this. So now if you're writing this step, you can sort of decide which one goes to be negative. Is the 3 going to be negative? Is the 2? Doesn't really matter. It's up to you. But basically what you end up with doing is squaring each of these numbers. So you end up with negative 3 squared over 2 squared. So I just put the negative in the top just to simplify it a little bit, and that becomes 9 over 4. So make sure you remember that if you got a square or even exponent, your answer is going to be positive. Alright guys, so there it is. That is fundamentally how you do negative exponents. Now of course they get more complicated. In terms of the context of a question, you might have a bunch of different exponent rules all involved. So maybe I'll do a few of those questions. So check out another video of mine. Hope this helps you. Good luck.